Welcome back to, I'm not sure what number this is.
96.
96. Episode 96 of Cali Brick Clique. I am here with the usual suspects. Shy time is my time.
Hey.
Ninja with the bricks. And I think second or third time is
Third.
Lando's
Lando's
third.
wow.
That's incredible. But before we dive into it, you can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all your typical podcast listening platforms. Definitely go give us a shout out and a comment. We have been also recently monetized on
Thanks, guys.
YouTube. So thank you, Tiago and Emily and Holly and everybody who shouted us out. That definitely went far and it's been fun. And it lit a fire in Shy's butt to like do some more reels and shorts and other ways of embarrassing us. I try to not remember things that I say on here.
And now I'm like bringing it back.
Yes, now he rewinds idiotic things I probably say. Anyway, how are you guys doing today?
Just keeping your memory on point. That's all it is.
I mean, I hope people are enjoying the reels. I know the clips are crappy, but I mean, like, at least the reels are fun.
I don't know.
The reels are cool. It's like a little, like, you know, it's boiling it down to a little snippet out of that episode. So I've been appreciating those.
Yay!
That's one of us.
You don't like the reels?
It's fine. It's fine. I enjoy and appreciate Shy's effort, whatever that form is. So thank you, Shy, for handling this podcast completely independently from Ninja and I.
Hey,
Who's Ninja?
We wouldn't be here without you guys.
Anyways, there are some new Lego idea sets. Yeah, they look like dog water.
Ooh, hot take.
Hot take.
Hot take.
I don't know.
I'm just like not that intrigued. I don't know. I honestly like. I used to totally make fun of so many people who were over Lego ideas and who had no interest in it. And I was like, why are they so emotional about this stupid program? And which is cool in theory. And now I have like zero interest because I was so butthurt from the Snow White house being canceled.
Yeah,
I don't know, what do you guys think?
That is pretty lame. I mean, like off topic, but kind of related to the ideas thing. Since like, BTS got called for military service. Is that still happening as a Lego set?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see why not. They were always that was always the plan. Like for years, people have known that they like delayed it as much as they could. But I think that was always.
I know. It's just funny now that they're creating military.
I mean, it's required.
Right? No, that's cool. I just wanted to bring that up. It's fitting for today. So I just wanted to say it. But yeah, no, I agree. Like I feel like I'm at the point now with ideas where I'm like, there's so many that are now like in review per session now, and like just like what 30 to like what was the last one, like 40 something. I don't know like what the total amount was, and 4 were approved.
Well, I guess the bigger thing is that there's more than one that was chosen, which is kind of a big deal, which is what everybody has been like talking about for a while. But let's see what that means.
Which sets are they?
Oh God, should I go ahead?
Okay, so we got the Polaroid camera, which I don't know if it's the one. Is it the one that we saw at Brick World? I could have swore I saw that Polaroid camera in person somewhere. So there's that one. We got the insects one, which I hope if that actually or I hope that one actually looks exactly how. I don't know how else the Lego designer is going to change those up. Maybe they might put on a branch or something. I have no idea. We got the train, which is cool. I'm not a train person, but if I were, I feel like that one would be a nice one. If they don't make it to the scale of Hogwarts, because I feel like if they make it to like $500, it will be like, oh.
I feel like Hogwarts is just. I feel like they're gonna only do that train, that size.
I don't know. Like something tells me they're gonna like exploit that set so hard when they should just make it like the crocodile, like that size, that scale.
Right.
Just. They should keep it like that. If they do it like Hogwarts Express, is going to be pretty bad. And then you got the vignettes, which I like. I think aesthetically it's very simple, and I don't know how a Lego designer would change that up because it's already. I mean, it's like 3 wall paintings, kind of. They could probably add texture to it, but Claire's not a fan, so
that's interesting.
I had seen the Hogwarts one. I'd seen the Polaroid one. I hadn't seen the insect or the vignette one.
The vignette one will look well, like if you were to, because it's like 3 different paintings and obviously some brick form. But if you were to have like, the Saturn V, like right above it, I think it's like a clean look if you were a minimalist if you were, I doubt anyone listening to this is a clean minimalist when it comes to Lego, but like if you were, I think that would be a good little look. But apparently it's to me they're all. I don't see myself getting them. I'm more excited for the Target one whenever that releases, the Viking set. But
it's interesting. These sets sound smaller compared to all the other idea sets.
I feel because there's no large IP to it this time. And I think that also contributes to like them having more than one. Maybe
I don't know. The train could be pretty big. There's no way to really know. And then also, like, who knows the size of the Polaroid camera? If it's going to be 1-to-1, that could still be like $125 set. Like, I don't think it's going to be. True, I don't know. The insects just looks like a glorified 3-in-1 or 7-in-1, whatever you want to call it. The vignettes just look like another version of the Van Gogh, which is maybe that's what it is. I'm sure they'll change it up, however, to make it, the instructions more palatable and more structurally sound or whatever. But
the whole idea, like the whole Lego ideas concept is kind of interesting. I'm trying to think of a comparison with it in like other art mediums.
Where they have like the fan creation and then they monetize that somehow. Was that
your words? I guess. Yeah.
I feel like that's Spotify.
Isn't it like? I guess
maybe
it's not really like fan. I mean, the art world doesn't really have like a fandom of sorts. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think there's like competition based work. Like like architectural competitions. Like a lot of civic stuff is usually competition based, or and for different events, like whatever, like people can apply to whatever, be a different representative of who knows what. So
it's like you're trying to be a contractor submitting your design, right? Is that what it feels like?
Kind of.
I mean, essentially you're submitting a design to a company and they take it and run with it, whether it's identical or not, right?
I mean, I wouldn't. No. I mean, because like I would say contract work is still different from that. I think like this is someone's intellectual property that they're selling, which is it's inherently different than a service.
Sure.
That is being contracted out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It would be one thing if like they contracted out Lando, for example, to like design 10 sets over the course of 2 years or something like that. That would be different. But I think when it's like a specific thing, I don't know. I mean, that's just the semantics of it all. But
it would just be a giant minifigure pack is all I'd make.
That's it would be. Yeah, it was just
that's it.
That's all it'd be.
I would have been totally fine with a giant minifigure pack.
You don't even need the little soccer field. You could just get all the minifigures.
I just want all the minifigures out of that set. I don't care about the foosball table. I just want
whatever it is. Yeah.
Like 5 foosball tables and like combine them to one big one.
Like a 1-to-1, like a real one.
Yeah,
I can see that happening.
I don't know. I just want those figs, and I don't want to spend that much money for 10 minifigures. I hope they did cost money to be able to put those into print, so I'm hoping they reuse them and recycle them and other things in the future, which I'm it sounds like they're going to do.
That's what I was just thinking.
They better.
Yeah.
Man.
I'm sure they'll recycle them with Marvel figures some way or another.
Right. Or City or something. Oh, wait, no.
City is yellow. Yeah.
Never mind.
Come on, break it. Lego can do it. Lego. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know where else I'm going to use another Vil logo. Like,
I don't know how they would
just
do that.
Make the all the flesh tones just available on Pick a Brick and have the customizers maybe pick up the slack.
They're starting to. I like the last time I looked, there's more flesh than there was before. Still a lot of yellow, but I see a lot of them. Like the clone one is always available. That's always there. But I'm starting to see like just generic face tones, face tones, like faces for the flesh tones, and it's actually refreshing because I bought a ton of them, as you can see right here.
Whoa. That's awesome.
1,100
off Bricks and Pieces. And like I'm kind of like, if I do a Bricklink order, like I'll look and see if there's any special ones that I can kind of change up into my army. But I should have done this from the beginning and never got yellow.
So you're doing no yellow at all, right?
Only yellow in my Black Falcon army are the classic Falcons, like the ones from the 80s.
Okay.
But yeah, everyone else, like modern day, they're all flesh tones. I don't know why. I saw people do them and I'm like, that looks really good. So I just started doing it.
Okay. It's more realistic. I could dig it.
Yeah. Anyways, Let's talk about minifigures.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about Lando.
Sure.
Lando.
Right. Where you want to start?
A lot has happened since you were last on here.
A lot has happened, yeah.
I feel like we've seen you in person quite a number of times this past year. I think like half a year. You're probably, aside from Claire, you and the team of Brickmania were like we're a number of people that I've seen like a lot within the community.
Yeah.
Well, he came out for the opening of the Brickmania store, which was super fun. Mm-hmm. And then I saw him at Brick World Chicago and Brick Fair Virginia, and Shai, you went to the military Lego convention.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's
yeah. It's about the same.
Yeah. So it's about the same. It's been nice. It's been nice spending time with you. I hope we get to still see you.
Yes. So I guess for those of you who don't know, as of like September 9th, I think it was.
I don't know why Shai's incapable of saying it right now, but
I'm no longer working at Brickmania, and it's heartbreaking to me as well. I don't know if it's heartbreaking to you. I guess
I'm crying. I can't go on the fight to save anymore.
It's tough. I guess I just kind of came to the fact that it was time for a change of pace, and just sort of like a new start. And I still really like everybody there. I still really like Dan. I still like Brickmania a lot. And it's not off the table to maybe like do some contract work in the future. But I just kind of came to the realization that I really need to be just kind of doing my own thing and pursuing some of the things that I'm interested in. I still like historical military quite a bit. But yeah, it's just a new direction, a change of pace that I needed. So
you're just broadening your work experience. Right?
It's really fun making minifigures. I'm not gonna lie, but it's just the pace. I couldn't do it. Like it's a ton of minifigures, and I want to make them all like perfect. Maybe that's part of it. Yeah, there's just different areas that I want to explore going forward. So
this is a good thing. It sounds like more of a good thing than a bad thing. I know Shai is like sad, but
I'm selfish.
But these like pivot points in your life tend to be for the best, especially when you have the choice to make it, which sounds like you did.
Yeah, so, yeah, and you know, it's just the graphic design is again another fun career, but it is kind of tough to pay the bills under a graphic design salary, and I have to pursue something a little bit more all-encompassing. Maybe I don't know if that's the right word, but something along those lines.
It's okay to say that. I think there's nothing wrong. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying you need something that makes a little bit more money. I think a lot of these like art situations that we find ourselves in with design, they're passion driven and the environments are great and the people that you work with are amazing and you can be fulfilled in so many different ways. But then when push comes to shove, if you don't have all the options to do everything you want to do in your life, you have to make a decision.
Yeah. Sure. I mean, like, and it doesn't have to be just salary, but like there's a glass ceiling to a lot of things in career choices. And like, sometimes like you're content with what you have and you're good with it. Like me, I currently feel like I'm happy with where I'm at. I could definitely won't say no to a pay jump or more responsibility, but like I'm happy. I know in about a year and a half, I'm going to want something new. That's just who I am. Like I've always been the type of person to want to like break through or change up. And I feel like a lot of people like when you do something for so long, it's like, okay, is this it? Or are you capable of more? And if you can't get it from your place of work or whatever you're doing at the moment, you have to adjust. And I feel like all of us here have done that at one point of our lives.
I mean, like we said in the previous episodes, like stepping out of your comfort zone is a good thing. It pushes you to find comfort again, but you know, you could do it again. It's growth. It's all about growth.
Yeah, early on, you know, at Brickmania, I'm one of the. I think I'm like employee number. I don't know what number, but there were only a
11,
few of us.
10?
I think
9?
more than that. Yeah.
5. Were you in the garage?
No. Let's see. There's only I think one guy there that was from before me right now.
Wow.
So,
and that's not including Dan.
Right. But so like early on, you know, when it's just a handful of people wearing a ton of different hats. I actually really, really enjoyed that, just the variety. And then pursuing different, like starting new departments, like printing on minifigures. We weren't even doing that before I started, and that was something that I really, really pushed into, and just I believed in that, saw the potential of it. And then so as a company grows, which is awesome, like I'm super happy for Brickmania to be growing. As a company grows, it just you're forced to kind of hand off hats and maybe compartmentalize a little bit.
Yeah.
And that's just a direction that it just wasn't sitting with me very well. So that's part of it. It really wasn't easy. It's something that I felt like it was over my head for more than a year that I was kind of debating.
I mean, you were there like from the very, I would say from the very beginning, at least for me. Like I'm used to seeing you in Brickmania, in the videos, like in the creation. Like I have a lot of your work on my shelf, in bags, in boxes, and like I can see where like a lot of it's like it feels like it's your own. You know what I mean? Like you've created all these things, and now you have to like omnis dominus. Here you go, and now you feel like you're a little bit empty with it, and like you want to feel either more in control. I mean, I'm trying to like figure out how to say that properly. I totally get it. I totally get it. I understand.
Sure.
Creatively, I know Claire probably could relate or talk on that better than me, though.
I mean, sort of. I like to be honest. Like, architecture is kind of like a weird thing. The bigger you go with projects, the bigger the teams, and so your direct association with it, as far as like a designer, sometimes feels at arm's length. And so, for me, my creative outlet completely changed. I would say 7 years ago. Away from my professional work to like my hobbies. And that was a decision that I made for financial reasons. I started doing larger scale buildings and going on the construction side of things because it was significantly more lucrative and there really was no glass ceiling for me to have to deal with. And so my passion for design ended up shifting into project management, really, and working with multiple disciplines and working with different people, which is a completely different skill set, which is awesome. But, as far as like work in the design world, I think it is grueling and it is not for the faint of heart. So I left it, if that makes sense. I also, to be totally fair, and I don't know when, you guys graduated, or Lando, when you graduated, when I finished school, it was like destitute. I was like one of the only people in my graduating graduate school class with a job that was already lined up, and I simply had that because of my summer internship the year beforehand, that they were basically hiring me on with a salary that was essentially the equivalent of minimum wage at the time. I did 2 degrees, by the way. And so when you graduate in that kind of environment, it kind of sets your career up for the rest of your life, and your attitude on work is completely shifted. You're essentially like desperate all the time, and you're constantly like, it sounds ridiculous, but you're constantly strategizing like job security, and you're like, oh, okay, so so for me specifically, it was like, okay, I'm gonna go and work and do medical facilities and wet labs because they're legally required to always have construction going on. So those firms will always have work going on. And I ended up working at a landscape architecture firm. And then I ended up working at a construction company. And I ended up working at a historical preservation company. And I like jumped around like crazy because that was like the only way to do it. And then at the same time, you're like panic teaching yourself every absolute software you can get your hands on, learning how to code, doing all this crap. And you're making like no money and you're working 100 hours a week. And so that was the environment that I graduated in. And for me, after 10 years of quite literally being in that headspace, I completely burnt out. And I realized that over the 10 years, I had even touched the creativity side of things. Like I had not even attempted to live the dreams that I had as to why I switched, like I became an architect, like why I went to architecture school. Like that had completely eliminated from my life. And so anyway, that's my life story. There's more, but that's how I started. So I don't know if you were in that similar situation, because I think that ends up kind of setting your path in a very specific direction.
I went, like any good graphic designer, I think I've said this before, I started right out of college right into a coffee shop. So kind of what happened. So and then I found Brickmania, so I lucked out there. So maybe I cannot relate with the learning every program in coding. I just kind of stick to Illustrator and Photoshop. Different experience.
Look, they laid off 40% of the architects in San Francisco at the time. So there was zero job security. And then I realized, I was like, I made the worst decision. I should have become a software engineer. I should have gone into finance. Like, my friends were making so much more money than me, and I was just like totally panicked. And I think if I wasn't surrounded by people that were making more money than me, if I was like in my little enclave of like architects that weren't making money, I think it would have been different. You know what I mean? You're kind of like misery supports company or whatever. And so you kind of were like, no, and it's like you're kind of a martyr of sorts. You're like, I made this decision because of design, and design is what I'm passionate about. And I like, you wear it like a, you tattoo it across your forehead, as who it becomes your entire identity. And I don't know. My question for you is like, I know you set up Brickmania. There was like directional changes that were happening inherently with like the company growing, and that's totally natural. And that's why like a lot of people tend to leave after, if they've been there for a long time. Like, I watched that happen with my last company as well. Did you feel like your personal identity and like who you saw yourself as a designer no longer like fit there as well, and like the direction that you were going creatively?
I mean, they're still I think selling figures that I've produced, and they probably will for quite a while. But yeah, in terms of there was creative differences on how designers in general are viewed within the company. And I always thought that even like Dan himself, he never really pushes super hard into the fact that he's the first person to get one of his personal sets licensed by Lego, which I just thought that was like the coolest thing ever. And I guess that's just him personally. He doesn't want to play on like lean into that too hard. And I don't know. I personally think he should, because it's super cool. And same thing goes for I thought for like myself and other kit designers and other minifigure designers, like I really enjoy like the personalities behind a lot of projects, and just at art in general. I want to know the people behind it. Like it's I guess Brickmania's thought is that Brickmania is the artist, which no doubt there's a huge crew that I never could have gotten my minifigures produced to that level without that kind of crew. But there's still a level of like, like what does kind of the artist that's been like conceptualizing the product from the start, what's the input there? What's the value with that?
Not to like completely nullify what you said or demean it in any way, but you didn't feel valued, which is like a really common feeling. Right. And then you're like, I'm going to go somewhere where I feel valued, whether that's something I create for myself or something else is going to give that to me. So,
I mean, that's like the number one of the top reasons why people leave any career, right?
That's why I left my last company. Yeah.
Yeah. And I guess the difference with some of that is like, I still like, I like everybody, and everybody there, and I, consider them like friends. So it's like that, it was tough.
It's complicated then. Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah. It's emotional at that point. You can't make a rational decision.
You invested so much, so like it's not easy. I get it.
And I was straight up with my intentions with them, like, talking to try to work something out for quite a while, but just not in the cards.
That's all you can do. Yeah.
But,
okay. So what's next then?
What's next? Okay. So I don't want to jump straight into something right away. I've been doing this for like 10 years, almost 10 years. And, I don't want to necessarily repeat some of that, like boxing into like one avenue here. So I'm actually looking for input and looking for different creative opportunities, looking for different, like what's the community looking for. I still want to produce minifigures. I still want to like design and produce and everything. Looking into different printers, looking into different techniques, seeing what I can do myself. And I did start a company. I've actually had a company for 2 years now. Just kind of on the side. It was doing like t-shirts, but now I think I'll switch more into custom Lego. Would be pretty awesome to get a few little pieces going. Right now so my company is called LL Consortium, and I guess the long-term goal, so you got to stay with me for this one here. The long-term goal is by 2070 we need to be mining asteroids, and I'm not even joking about this. This is something we just need to do as humanity. This fixes everything. I've looked at the tech tree. Seriously, it fixes everything. So I'm Lando right now, designing minifigures. How do I get there in 50 years This is the objective. And I figure if we're not mining asteroids in 50 years, at least we'll land somewhere halfway there.
I mean, Elon's trying to get to Mars by when?
I don't know. He wants to die on Mars, is what I've heard.
Oh, I don't know about that. He doesn't want to go to Mars. He knows you can die easily. He's like, yeah, I don't know about going there myself unless it's like comfortable.
So right now I'm designing. I want to design some like Lego parts. I love Lego for its ability to. It's kind of like a universal language, and like anybody can just associate with it. And I think there are a lot of so right now as a functional company, it's more of like a technology awareness branding. You can get into that kind of stuff with custom Lego. That's kind of a nice launching point, I think. And there's tons of companies that you've never heard of, but I think there's some really promising innovations that I think it's a good time to actually be alive right now, even though everyone's kind of doom and gloom. It sort of seems like. I don't know if you're getting those vibes, but
kind of.
I think it's the best time to be alive. There's going to be so many cool things. We're going to see like.
You talking about in the Lego world, or you talking about the actual world?
I'm talking about everything.
I'm about to say, I don't know. A lot of bad things can happen in the next 5 years.
Oh yeah.
Maybe it's just the circles that I run with who are still in, like military wise, and like some of them are now in like the intel community, and I'm just like, this is so bad.
There's some sketchy stuff that could happen. It's no doubt. I'm just thinking. I'm coming from the approach that we are. I don't know if it's like philosophers or whatever, scientists, whatever. It's referred to as like the Coke bottle moment, and we are at this little pinch point right now. And if we can make it through this little pinch point, there's a rapid expansion that we're going to be hitting. So it's like everything. Like we're generating wealth at a faster rate than we ever have, and it's not slowing down. And so it's like, yeah, the rich are getting richer. I'm hoping that we can outpace just the sheer amount of people in the world. So I think that we're going to have some interesting years coming up. I really do think that.
I'm not so optimistic.
That's okay. That's fine.
I don't know. I'm just paranoid. That's just me though. I watch too much crap.
Okay. Yeah.
It's like, oh no.
Maybe that's part of it. After working at like a historical military company for quite a few years, I'm like, okay, this is one side of the story. Like there's like it's an important side that we all need to know. But why? Like, why are we fighting? Like, what are we fighting for? You know, why are we doing this? And I think the answer to that comes in like, you know, it's there's the science, it's the innovation. We can actually, as a culture, get to like the next stage. We can actually meaningfully help people across the world.
Damn, that's deep. Hell yeah.
Yeah, the way to get meta there.
Post scarcity is the concept.
Yeah, no, I'm in agreement. Like we just have to get through this like next 5 years with no incidents.
So in every 1,000 people, and I wish I had the source for this, because in every 1,000 people there's one genius, and we're about to have internet across the whole globe to like third world countries, and internet's more vital to a country's economy than running water. So we're going to see some huge like you don't even know what's going to happen next. Like the sheer amount of people coming online. You know, there's a brilliant physicist digging a ditch right now. You know, it's I think these people are going to get access to our internet soon. So I'm really excited for that.
Just knowledge in general can do so much. I mean, I'm not trying to talk about the Russian war right now, but like their military, how they're like crapping it right now. You know, a lot of their censorship comes from like obviously their own media sources, like censoring the people from how things really are in the military. But when you yourself are put in a situation where you're not giving supplies, that you know you're not getting trained, you're putting straight in the front lines, and at that point you know you can die. Like you don't care anymore. I'm gonna put on a video, record myself, and say this sucks.
Yeah,
so, you know what I mean. So that type of power is a game changer for a lot of people who are in power. You know what I mean? Like, especially what's going on in Iran. Like a lot, like government censorship is not the same anymore. And by putting information into people's hands and having the ability to communicate in any platform, whether it be YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, wherever, just it can do a lot.
We haven't even seen the start of it all. You know, it's like we've only just begun this what's possible next.
Well, yeah. So in the positive side, yes, we could. There's a lot of things that can happen. Internet for everyone, that's a good thing. Switching to like renewable energy is a good thing. Getting, you know, going to Mars is a great thing. You know, a lot of things that could have been done like 40, 50, 60 years ago are now being put back into motion. Priorities are changing. But it's kind of sad, though, that we're not all on the same page. Everyone's kind of like And that's what's scary about it, is that there's no one cohesive mission right now. It's just like it's
And
still you versus me.
that's kind of what one of the things that, and I'm still formulating this whole thing. This is kind of why I'm not jumping straight into my next venture. Is I want to get maybe a bit better of a way of explaining this. But that is one of the biggest threats that I see, is bipartisanship. We're creating some of our own problems big time.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
And it's like, we're really, like, when you really boil it down, there's not really much difference between people. There's platforms that are capitalizing on on outrage and conflict, right?
I was just thinking that division is profitable right now.
Right. So this is, again, going back to this long-term thought, is, what if what if a company isn't necessarily subservient to, like, their shareholders, their profits? Like, what if we develop a means to create wealth at such a rate, which it seems like we are on track to do this. What if we create wealth at such a rate that we don't need to exploit people anymore? And this is maybe just totally an overly optimistic way of looking at it, but
there's always going to be that one person that does it, though.
Let them
find a way to do it.
It's what's going to be crazy about it is that it'll be less profitable for them to do it that way.
That's a big reach.
Flip it on them, yeah.
I hope that's a great thing to aim for. I don't know, maybe I'm just a realist.
That's fine.
I've seen what people are capable of.
No, I believe, no, and that's I'm trying not to, like, gloss over, like, historical realities, and it's like we're going to repeat a lot of these things, crap from our history. But I'm hoping that through stuff like space exploration, we're going to unlock the means to kind of get beyond that and make it a more profitable. Like, if war is about control and profit, is kind of what it boils down to a lot of times. Like, Russia wants to get those those natural gas fields and shipping lanes.
And what happens? All the semiconductors.
Yeah, right. What happens when you create a manufacturing system? I mean, let's say this is the crazy sci-fi stuff. Let's say you have a chip factory on the moon where you can just mine forever without worrying about the EPA, and you can just create these computer chips anywhere. You don't have to worry about trade sanctions and stuff. You could. There's an alternative here. So a financial alternative off the planet.
Yeah, but then it's going to be up to the superpower to control that, so that way they can
Space Force.
I'm just saying, man.
Factory.
That's what it is. Like, there's always going to be a resource, and there's always going to be someone that wants to control that. Because using Taiwan as a big example, there, if China takes over Taiwan, they have now control over everything we use in the United States and in Western culture. Your phones, your cars, like 50% of, or 3/4 of what's needed to build these things is now going to be under China's influence.
Yeah, so we need to create alternatives.
So if we were to do the same thing in the moon, it's going to be us.
we need to make alternatives.
No, I mean, I see the utopia that you're looking for. It's fine.
Right.
I hope that.
Well, no, think about it. This is less of a jump. What I'm talking about is less of a jump than where we are in our civilization compared to 10,000 years ago.
Oh yeah, I mean, a lot has happened in like the blink of the eye that we've been around this planet.
Have you seen the rate at which it's happening?
Yeah, but we also have other problems to deal with, like our population's decreasing. Like, that's a problem.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
that is a huge problem. Civilization can collapse on itself, like next couple centuries, because we're not making babies. That's a problem.
Yep.
Like China, Japan are screwed right now.
Well, opposite, but yeah, I know, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but that's I think that's probably a crappy way for human civilization to go, is to die from not being able to sustain itself of how much we've created.
Robots, man, that's where the moon mining robots, right?
Right, but now then we all turn to robots, and it's going to be like cyberpunk.
That's fine. That's cool.
We kind of like really went to a huge couple rabbit holes.
I'm a huge. So I am. I don't know if you could tell. I am a huge like sci-fi and space nerd. Like that's. I really love that stuff. I think that it does offer a lot of hope that I think we're needing right now.
Okay, then here's the question. Yeah. Here's the question: aliens or no aliens?
Oh my god, so annoying.
Both those outcomes are scary as hell.
No. It's
out there coming. I mean, I hope there's not.
It would be it would be a miracle if there weren't, like, literally.
That would be scary as hell. That's even worse. I think that's that thought that we're like the anomaly in the universe is scary.
But yeah,
I mean, just like really, like what we have is like super precious. and we're gonna screw it up.
So far, that's the case. It's mathematically probably not the case.
It is crazy though how much sense it all makes, right? You say it's all sci-fi, but it makes so much sense.
Or it's like a simulation or something like that. I don't know. There's.
Is this what you think of on all your free time now?
No, this is what I've been thinking about this stuff for years. So maybe it's been amplified. I mean,
so what do you do all day now since you have to go into work?
I make a lot of phone calls, and I'm just. It feels like I'm trying to herd cats.
Herding cats. I feel like that's an AFO thing.
I helped a friend chop down a tree. That was fun.
Nice.
Some manual labor is a nice break from sitting behind a computer.
Well, I mean, like, I get it. Like Claire took a little break. I took a little break. Like, you worked for a company for so long. Like, how does it feel like just not having like that type of structure where you have to go in to grind?
Oh, yeah, it's weird. It's it's weird. I mean, I kind of planned for this, like a little bit of a savings, for this. I haven't had a vacation in like 10 years. Like, it's fun going to a Lego convention, but it's still weird. It's still, it takes energy, and then you got to go back to work on Monday. So it's been the past, years have been a kind of a go for the whole time. So I'm just going slow and letting myself be lazy every now and then.
It's good.
Trying to let myself be lazy.
You're like recouping right now. It's a
you're recharging right now. So if you were like were to like bring your company to like the Lego world, like where do you see yourself going with it?
I always think the coolest part of minifigures would be like the faces and the heads and stuff. That's where like the personality is at. Which I'm pumped that Lego is finally deciding to get the like flesh tones like finally. Sucks that it's behind a paywall, but it is what it is right now. Hopefully they address that.
Well, I mean, like it's I feel like the push for it really came out like a year and some change ago, and the fact that they made these steps now, which would, if you were to think about it, like, well, if the community was pushing for it last year, it would also take time for it to, one, like make them, two, figure out where to put it, and three, not like to cause a stir with it. So I think what they're doing now with, they don't have to put them in the clones or the clones of stormtroopers. Like, they could just made those all one skin tone, but they've, trying to find ways to throw it in there, like especially with the new ideas set. Like, that's a perfect example. Like, well, we need to fulfill this budget. Let's just throw all the figureheads in there. So like, like upping, they're trying. So now that we're starting to see it, I feel like it's going to continue going. It's going to amplify, like especially in the inventory. So I think they finally like listened to that, because I remember it being a big push. With gender, obviously there was more, more men to females, and then more white was more than black, like blah blah blah. Like, it was a very what's going on, and I think just Lego wasn't paying attention at that time, and they listened, and now you can see it everywhere. So I got comfortable looking at like the flesh tones more like when I started getting to customs, because like when you get into the custom world, or even like when you look at like Marvel or DC, like you're used to seeing it like in color now, and Lego's made that a thing. And then I think like companies like Brickmania also did the same thing. Like you like Brickmania switched from yellow to flesh tone. Like, why'd you guys go with that decision?
I think the custom community was they were using that in the military dioramas a lot, and I think there was a perception at the time, and I think there still is a perception that the flesh tones are more like realistic and kind of desirable. Like, they're cooler, I think. Yellow is it's that like iconic look to it. I think that's more when you're pushing into like the branding aesthetic of Lego, is when you want to use like, Lego, or the yellow ones make sense. But I think in dioramas and stuff, historical dioramas, it makes sense to go with the flesh tones.
Yeah, it feels more accurate, because like if I would have got a yellow M&M fig, it just wouldn't have been the same.
But would you feel the same though? Like, if Lego always had the yellow, like if Lando never turned black, like if it was yellow the whole way and no flesh tone was introduced, because you would have never envisioned it, right? You're just so used to the yellow. And I know, like, a lot of people like using the Ninjago movie as an example, when what's his name was also yellow. I forgot his name, the newscaster. Anyways, he's black. But he was depicted as yellow in Ninjago, so it was like, yellow means everybody. So I think that was them trying to like rewind a little bit, and didn't really like stick, because the Ninjago movie wasn't like this big thing. But
it's too late,
it's like they already gone too far. Like, I think we've gotten used to like Star Wars being flesh tone, and now like with everything else going to flesh tone. I'm moving to flesh tone. I don't know. I might be one day. I might have no yellow in my city. It might just be all flesh tones.
That is, I know everyone brings it back to like the Simpsons thing, but it's like it is kind of crazy to me. How come no one goes at Simpsons for that? Because like if they
Like
put
a
Eminem on the Simpsons, I wouldn't expect him to be flesh tone. I would expect him to be yellow. I don't know. It's just weird.
It's a very touchy subject, and I got some flack for it, but it is what it is. Well, the point where I was getting is that you've gained all this knowledge from the custom world, and you made some really good connections through it. You have like, you know what works, what doesn't, and according to what you tell me, like you guys share a lot of like techniques with each other when you guys are actually interacting. I'm talking about like you guys as in designers and creators, like, you know, you and Joe and Citizen Break, like him taking you to the back and all that kind of stuff, you know, and you guys are very familiar with what you guys do, what your niche is. So in this, let's say you were to go into that custom Lego world, which I think it's a good, I mean, you have the knowledge, you might as well dabble into
it. I still definitely want to pursue that as to what exact ends.
Is it what you know what's out there? Like, where do you think your niche would be? Like, what are you like thinking in your head?
I would love to do, you know, partly, at least in the prototyping phase, producing some stuff myself, and as well as collaborating with whoever kind of wants to, and collaborations will be awesome. Seeing what kind of comes up with that. I want to push into like stuff. It's frustrating that stuff. I get it for the collector side of things. Like stuff sells out so fast, but it would be nice to just get stuff at a little bit more of a restockable rate. Certain products, like I want to keep supporting the things that I produced. And there's ways you can still make things like scarce enough. Like if people are into this for collecting, which I get, you know, there's ways to do like additions and just like special packaging, stuff like that.
I feel like Clone Art Customs is very good with keeping things that people want. I mean, I get it generically, like their stuff is like mainly clones from Star Wars and people want multiples of them, but like they keep this, like they'll have like the random like special unit, but they keep the same figs like stock like all the time. Even when the 501st came out, they still had all these characters able to, you know, to buy, and it hasn't gone away. So yeah, I think having that idea of having a restockable figure, because, you know, there are a lot of figs that I want that I'm very tempted to spend 3 times what it was selling for, but like slapping myself because I am like, why?
Right.
Just, there's no point. And like Joe brought it up a couple of times, like if it's something that's truly wanted, like he'll make it again, but he hasn't. So it's like, I don't know, are you ever going to do that? So to figure out what that is though, like what is it that is needed out there? Because that's like the key thing, right, to any business, correct? Like you need to find something that people want and are willing to pay for and need it.
That's part of it for sure.
Yeah,
I've almost observed with a lot of businesses, it's more important to figure out what not to do. Going like 1 inch in 10 different directions, I think you get further if you go 10 inches in one direction. Well, it's what was it? They've done studies with this. It's like, I think the ranch bottle study. It's like there isn't an increase in satisfaction with more choices. No, this was an architecture thing actually. They had like a book. They had 2 different books. One had every single choice of carpet and whatever, like wood stains, every single choice.
And that's why Cheesecake Factory sucks. You go to Cheesecake Factory, there's like 50 different menus in one menu, and you're like,
novel. Yeah. No, I mean it's a good business strategy in terms of like, you know, fewer options, and people can also like wrap their mind around it, and you know.
Like in and out.
Yes, very clean.
Yeah.
3 menu choices, and you can fix out however way you want to, but essentially 3 core things, 3 core product, and then you just run with it, or you perfect those 3 things.
So I'm going to be the In-N-Out burger, is what I'm saying.
I mean, it's a good business model. They're successful for a reason.
It 1-for-1 transfers over. I don't. I'm just giving you crap. Yeah.
Well, I mean, okay. So let's say you do get into the custom world, like you're gonna have to get some printers, or do you think you're gonna outsource some of this from the beginning?
I mean, there's many different techniques for printing onto like getting printing onto an object. There's many different companies that do it. UV is our UV printing is kind of the standard custom thing.
Would you want to go pad printing? I'm curious, genuinely.
I would love to. Yeah. I probably would outsource that because there's pad printers everywhere.
Where are these pad printing companies?
You gotta find them. Yeah. Our first figure was pad printed.
Yeah, the older figs, I remember those. Yeah,
those were pad printed in town. UV offers. So I mean, I think since we were producing such incredibly short runs, that it made more sense to go the UV printer route.
That's obviously like a larger scale, but for you though, would you want to invest into like going to the UV route when you're able to control the pace, what you want exactly? You know what I mean? It's a different beast now, because now it's like you have a deadline per fig, for this timeline. Obviously, it's not also not set by you at times. So like this time around, you get to control, your path. So like you can either go through the pad printing route, you can go through the outsourcing, or you can just do it yourself and just get the process done.
I'm gonna go steal one of those things from the Lego factory or those new minifigures.
You gonna take it from the minifig factory? That's kind of messed up.
Have you seen those things? Those
we have. We have a few. Like Sam's made a couple custom ones.
They're interesting. I don't. You can only print on white. I think isn't that what
really?
It is? Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're all white. That's true.
I didn't know that.
And I'm guessing they probably don't get cleaned. Well, maybe they do. I don't know.
I mean, they're behind a glass, so no one's touching them.
But those print heads. So I think I know what machine they're using, and those, if you don't calibrate it several times a day, if you don't clean the print heads, if you don't, I don't know. It's just the print quality I saw in some of the examples was a little bit. You just need to clean the print heads a bit more. There is a wizardry to it. There is definitely an artistry. There's just that printing in and of itself is pretty tough. I've done it a little bit. It was me and a camera guy that started up the UV print department, and we did the first few runs of stuff until we got a full-time person. So I'm familiar enough with it. That's an older generation of printers, but I'm familiar enough with it. I think I could get something get some ink down onto some ABS. I would like to explore some. Let's see. Balaclavas are awesome. I love just like balaclava heads. Lego. That's always what you want for your minifigure, and Lego only's got like a few. You don't like the balaclavas?
I have a few of them.
You can never have enough.
So that's where you're gonna start.
Maybe.
All right. You got to start somewhere, right? I mean, as long as it's cool.
What if it's not?
Then I'll tell you that it sucks. You want me? I'll call Brickmania out. Like, I'll definitely say if something sucks.
Everyone's really nice on the internet. They're just putting on a show. It's fine. Have you ever direct messaged somebody instead of commented back to them? It's hilarious. People, they're so nice. I've gotten many people to apologize.
What's an example?
It was just when somebody's talking crap online, you just like go direct message them. It's like, hey, like, everything okay, man? Like, let's talk it out.
Wow, you've gone that far with trolls.
I've done that a ton. Everyone's
like, I don't comment after a certain point. Like, if I post something and then you have 48 hours for me to respond to you. After that, I might respond to you. But like, if it's something like egregious, it's just like, why? But I get it though. Like, this is your work and it's your art. So like, if you want to like hammer them with a pin, like, hey,
if
I've had this every time.
Commenting on the internet, you're not actually responding to the individual.
You respond to everybody.
Yeah, you're putting on a show. It's not actually a dialogue. Like it's not real conversation. And so, like, direct messaging people gets a little bit closer, I think.
Oh, it's like you show up to their door.
It's like the closest you can get with it.
It's like them yelling at you, making fun of you as you walk on the block, and then they go back inside the house, and then you just knock, like, "Hi."
I mean, I'm never like pissed at them or anything. It's just it's a random person on the internet that has an opinion. Like,
no, I got that. Like, I've responded to a few people who thought that I'll never respond to them, and they're like, "Oh, yeah," or they just don't respond.
Yeah.
Or I just put timestamps. I'm like, here's a timestamp. This will answer your question. You obviously didn't watch the video, which happens a lot.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I would have answered that question like if you just made it to like 5 minutes.
But what are some things? So going back to what you were the question of what to make. I mean, do you have any ideas? I'd love to hear just input from.
Well, I mean, I think pop culture is a good one. You can't go wrong with that. And I feel like everybody touches it. I know. It's like that's kind of a hard one because like anything that's currently trending, you have like a certain window before it becomes not trending anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? For example, like Stranger Things, like when season 4 happened, you had like a split window to get these figs out. And if you did it, the probability of you selling some of these is not as high as if you would have sold it, or when it came out versus, you selling it like when the show's over, So that might be a little struggle, but there are some things out there that I think would do well. I don't want to bring up on here because I think that's something that Sans is kind of working on. But we'll omit that.
Is Sans getting into the custom minifig game? What's going on? Oh,
What's your name?
Are you doing some custom figures?
Come join the conversation.
Secrets or lies? You gotta show.
Okay, so you have Sans, if you could hear me, you have Lando here who's trying to figure out a niche to kind of create custom Lego in. What do you think he should kind of put some energy into? If you had him at your disposal and wanted him to create something for you
to make money,
yeah, to make money.
Obviously. I guess that's the point. Yeah,
that's the point, right?
No, it's that's part of it. Yeah, sure.
No, I mean you're gonna spend a lot. You need to make money to compensate the costs.
And I mean, I have plenty of ideas for myself, but those aren't necessarily things that I think are going to make a ton of money. Just things I want personally. So I don't.
It's funny, like talking to like friends and family about this. Just getting the random like, I got a request for from a family member for like Jane Austen stuff.
Didn't Lauren say that to you? Lauren and I were both like, that would be super cool.
Just make the jump from historical military to Jane Austen
to literature. Yeah, I mean,
well, little Big Art. I don't know if you're familiar with them. They're out of, I think, the UK. So they focus on like artists. So they do custom artists, like Banksy and stuff like that. Like they'll make
like Frida Kahlo, Beethoven, all that stuff.
Yeah, they'll do art. Well, not musical artists. And I saw. Oh. I do follow some dude that does musical.
Yeah, like, there's some accounts blowing up doing that.
Yeah, that they're doing like, I don't know how far they can go with this by doing like Drake or Kanye or like any of like, Travis Scott, like any of these artists that are currently out using their name to sell a product. I don't know how long that's going to last, especially if you're using a 1-for-1 replica of the artwork into Lego form. But still though, it's killing it. So pop culture, I think, in any facet, like would do very well. I think I feel like every custom company out there has done a piece of it, and mainly done them pretty well. The problem is, like, again, it's just like timing. It's a very hard thing unless you go through something like back in the 80s or 90s or early 2000s, something that's like kind of timeless, which is a hard one too. The military side, it's like, I mean, you're good at it. I wouldn't say like put all your marbles into that, I would definitely try to find like a niche of like, I don't know, things that haven't been done yet.
So this is an idea probably shouldn't be shared, but I think one route you could take that would be or could be financially worth it, doing YouTubers as minifigures, not just Lego YouTubers, but people that actually have an audience worth
for sure
investing in.
Yeah, I would be lying if I haven't talked about this and thought about this, and because why not?
That, or unless you can figure out how to do Pokemon that actually look good and you're not worried about getting sued by Nintendo. I don't have any ideas off the top of my head.
I kind of like the idea of a lot of these. Why go about it like sneakily? Like, why not just ask the company that has IP rights to something, or why not just ask?
I think a lot of people do, and the problem is you have to negotiate with them, which is totally fine. I mean, either they take a big percentage, which honestly that might not be the worst thing.
Especially that gives you notoriety with something that's good. Like, I don't think it's bad to pay a tribute to somebody who has the right to a product. I mean,
unless they don't want to actually give credit, like the M&M figure, and then you just see a crappy printed minifigure and you don't know who did it.
Cold-blooded.
But if you were to get that like one, influencer that like does give you credit for it, because then now everybody else is going to want to do it, and then
Mr. Beast.
I wasn't going to say it, but I may be working for Mr. Beast. No, I'm just saying.
Oh, you lucky dog. Man, tell Jimmy I said hi.
Yeah. You guys go back?
No, not at all. I wish so.
I think you should, definitely explore things in that realm. I think it's a good idea, something, especially because not a lot of other people are thinking about it, but it's a hard one to kind of figure out where you fall in the custom world, because I feel like a lot of things have already been done, or a lot of people unless you do it better.
Well, and that's the whole thing, like chasing after the next new thing when there's just so much stuff that is sold out. Why not keep supporting some of the classics, keep kind of building off of a previous legacy.
Mhm.
And as cool as like IP stuff is, and as cool as like pop culture stuff is, like I enjoy all that stuff. The problem with that is that it doesn't necessarily build your own brand necessarily. Like the money's cool and the notoriety's cool, I guess. But
Yeah.
if you can do a license, if you can create your own, like all these IPs had to start somewhere. It's like kind of create, like Citizen Brick's is doing a good job kind of nurturing his personal style. Like he's got a look and he's got a following. Like you can kind of just see his stuff. It's like no matter what he produces, he's going to have people like.
That's for sure.
It up.
Yeah, I think there's an element of relatability to a lot of the figures. It touches on pop culture, but
and baby Jesus
gracefully. And then there's the signature style.
Yeah, you have a Citizen Brick fig in hand when you have one.
Yeah,
I think that's like the key is to be able to stand out amongst the other ones too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like your own style of work, art, how you print, like quality. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is like the early. Like we've only custom Lego. How many years? It's like
No, I agree. I think I don't think everything's been done. I think there's so much more that can be done.
And not only everything hasn't been done, but it's like think about this from like again a bigger art perspective. It's like if Lego is art, let's actually treat it like that. Let's let's move into the like creating just cool pieces of work that are cool in their own right. Yeah, just embrace that it's more than just recreating a pop culture thing. It's more than just a cool minifig. It's actually its own like standalone piece of artwork.
The key to that though is to turning it into a product.
Yeah,
that's like the hard part. That's a great idea, and hopefully it leads into something successful, because ultimately, like, you could create a product, but if it doesn't sell, then you can't create more product.
Right.
So, we got to think about that too. Like something has to move. So, having a good balance of that would be great. Like, doing the things that sells and doing the cool things like every now and then, which is, I think, it's a good formula that a lot of the custom companies do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, it's a lot of throwing stuff at the wall and see what sticks. I don't know. I hope you succeed. I'm rooting for you. It's definitely hard to see BKM without you. It doesn't feel the same. Like even though you're not in the, like, even though I didn't see you in like a lot of the content, but knowing that you were there, it's a lot different now. Where like you're still not in the content, but now you're not there.
Yeah.
So it's like
I do. It'd be fun to do some like some YouTube stuff. I mean, I have the like kind of a knowledge base of minifigures and whatnot. So I think that's an avenue that I wouldn't mind exploring a little bit. Yeah.
Well, now's the time to do it when the social media wars are happening.
Social media wars. What's that? Fill me in, man.
Like, well, everyone's doing everyone's trying to take out TikTok.
Oh.
Yeah.
How is that any different than it always is? They're always competing against each other.
You wouldn't understand, Claire. You don't understand
war.
The thrill of war.
I'm gonna go log into MySpace.
Hey, man, they figured out a way to monetize short form content better than the other two. So Meta's not doing too well as a whole. I don't know how long Instagram's gonna last if that's the case. And then, TikTok. I mean, if World War III happens, that thing's gone. So
YouTube knew this. They gave TikTok a head start. They're like, look, we'll give you a head start, but we're gonna take over.
I think it's a good time to like invest into something that you're creative in, and if that comes into social media, I think you should not ignore it. I think there's definitely benefit on whether TikTok, of course, Instagram, all of it. You're gonna have to put yourself out there anyway. So now that you're in your downtime and trying to like regroup and rally up yourself, learning like what works for you, this is a time to be doing that. So that way, if once you figure it out, that's one thing that less to worry about when you're actually creating the product that you want to sell.
For sure.
You know what I mean, so that way you can start marketing yourself correctly and then building the brand. Like right now would be a good time to start building a brand.
Oh yeah,
and just putting yourself out there and be like, I'm alive.
I am alive. Yeah, no, you're right. It's I got to be hitting things in a big way pretty soon here. So I appreciate your input on all this. It's always looking for it.
I'm still sad. Going back to the very beginning of this.
No, I mean, it's not off the table. I'm available for contract work. So
okay. So if anybody needs work, reach out to Lando.
Certain topics that I would rather not make. If you've seen it on, it's just.
I've seen them, man. I've seen them. I'm like, okay, this is kind of too far. In the realm of PG-13 space.
Sure.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. Some rated R. Die Hard is rated R.
Die Hard, yeah. It's the best Christmas movie, man. So if you guys would like to give me a hand, I have a little product page going. You can buy me a coffee.
Yes.
And it's llconsortium.com. You can buy me a coffee.
You have one product on this website.
I had a whole bunch. I took them down. I was doing t-shirts, but that was all drop ship. That was all drop ship stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not doing drop ship. I'm gonna try and do order fulfillment here. So
wait. It really is coffee
from there.
Is it really coffee?
Yes. Oh my God.
Coffee. Where's it from?
No, it just. Oh my God. We're gonna end it now. Thank you everybody for showing up, and we will see you next time.
Just coffee, bro.
I'm not familiar with that type of stuff.
Can't lie. The past 30 minutes, I thought we were not live. I've been trying to figure this out. I was like, did he stop? Is he gonna cut this out? What's going on?